It's a good story that I'd like to share with you, all my bro and broettes. A nice financial freedom story. So, super excited. I'm about to close on my house tomorrow. I did not want the direct deposit to go sour, so I decided to go straight to my branches at my banks and have them send it over for me just so they could officially fill it out. And when I was at one of my banks, the guy's like, well, one's like, oh, I can make an appointment tomorrow. I'm like, dude, that's too late, right? Because I need time. And it's a good thing that I proactively got this done the day before, because bank wires take time. If I did it tomorrow, it might not go down tomorrow. So it's a good thing that I proactively decided to do it the day before. When I got to the branch, they're like, hey, we're booked up for the day. I was like, oh my God, okay. So I go to the next nearest branch, and the guy's like, oh, it's gonna be 45 minutes. And I'm like, is it cool if I just come back in 45? He's like, it's not a restaurant. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I thought Red Lobster, this isn't no all you can eat buffet? Oh, it's a bank, it's not a restaurant. Oh, this isn't a restaurant. Oh, okay. Because I wasn't sure, but I'm glad that you told me that this wasn't a restaurant, so that, you made it more apparent that I can't leave after putting my name in to come back in 45 minutes. You want me to sit here for 45 minutes and twiddle my motherfucking thumbs, right? And do nothing. But we all know me cannot do that, being the person that I am. I have to be more proactive than that. My time is worth way more than sitting there, right? So, I was like, oh, well, what can I do to be productive, right? Can I wash my car? Can I organize? Can I make some phone calls, right? Can I stretch? And I comboed the two. I waited right out front, and I decided to turn the lemon into lemonades, which was, okay, well, if I'm going to be stuck here, let's be proactive. I started making some phone calls, and about 5 to 10 phone calls in, I would say. What kind of candy? It's one of the most favorite candy questions I like to get asked is, what kind of candy is it? What kind of candy is it? Because to me, what that says is, I'm interested, right? But do I want to eat the candy that you're going to give me? And the good news is, we all know, I use Top Chef, baby. Nothing but the best for my guest. You know this. So after I told him, he said, yeah, got his name. And it was one of those things where it's kind of within the vicinity, not too far from my house. So I was like, I just got to jump on this, right? We all know I just came up on 10 to 12 candy machines, and they need homes or upgrades, and I got so much work to do that I can't go into that cage. I'm taking time out of the cage to work on this. And so when he told me, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to jump on it. I'm going to book over there, and I'm going to set it up. Happens to be a tire shop. So I have another tire shop, and it didn't do well, but the candy machine I used and the candy I used both really sucked. And so I'm giving that place another shot. They're also not charging me a 20% VIG, which is pretty sweet. And so I decided to put in one of my 4 chambers, and I put in some good candy, nothing but the best, right? And I'm giving it a real chance, because even with the garbage, I saw that like $20 made it through. I mean, obviously that was probably more than a month or 2, but it still said, hey, there could be some demand, some like a pulse at this location. Another nice point is these places, man, they are open for a lot of hours. It's definitely something that I like stay in tune with. Especially lately, I picked up a bar recently, and I looked at their hours of operation, and they're awful, right? And so just based on those hours of operation, I'm thinking there's no way I can have success when you open at 4 and you close at 10. Like, what am I supposed to do with a 6-hour window? It's just, and then you're not even that busy to begin with. The nice thing is, on the contrary, a place like this, they're open from like 8 to 4, 8 to 6 every day. We're talking like 10-hour days, right? And then maybe shortened on like the weekends, but I mean, that's 10 hours a day. This candy machine is going to be operating like 70 hours a week, 60 hours a week. That's great. Let's take a look inside. You know, so the nice thing is they do have a full-size snack machine with a Niax right here, which is pretty sweet, right? I wonder how much they're charging for a soda. You know, it looks like a $2 charge. When you press the button, $3.25 for a Monster. How much for just a basic Coke, 12 ounce? $1.25. So the temperature is moderate in here. It is shaded. It's obviously the doors are open, so you know you are getting like room temperature. But the nice thing is, you know, these candy machines hold up pretty well, especially like in the shade. I tried to be very conservative when it came to the amount of candy that I put in here, but it's like it's hard. It's hard to be extremely conservative, which technically I should be, right? This is a lot of candy. You know, how long is it going to last? How much action is it going to get? You know, we don't know, right? We need to give it a month or two to really see what the numbers are going to look like, to see how much candy I should keep in track in here. Something that I need to learn is what those numbers translate into. If it sells $10, $20, $30, $40 in a month, you know, how much candy is that and how much should I be restocking? Because the last thing I want is for any candy to go bad. The Skittle level may be a little too high. Gumballs are popular. I kept them low. I usually like to keep a lot more in there. Peanut M&Ms, I try to keep low, but still, I mean, I need to have something in there to sell. And then Starburst, I know, are popular, so I put them a little bit above the average RIN that's going on at this location. Another thing that I did, that I'm doing on all my locations, is I am putting a trim around the bottom with some, I spray it with some like mint spray, but I also put on the Vaseline to help prevent any sort of ants coming up here. So anyways, super cool. Excited to try this out. You know, keep in mind, you have a constant traffic flow of customers, and you do have a handful of employees. You got a handful of employees that are going to be working here day out and day in, and you know, where are they going to go for a snack? You know, there's really nothing around here to grab a quick snack. I mean, obviously you can go anywhere, but when you can't leave and you want a handful of candy, boom. So, you know, I'm excited. We're gonna see how it goes. And remember, I'm keeping the numbers low. I did lose a auto supply store, which is a blessing in disguise, because that was making less than $5 a month in sales. And it was just near my house, but the problem with it is you think, oh, like no harm, no foul. But the problem is, I got a bee next to me, trying to come in. The problem is I have M&M's. It was a triple candy. I have M&M's, peanut M&M's, and I think Skittles in there, and that's expensive, you know. And when the M&Ms start cracking and stuff, you know, it's like it's hard to like reuse, you know. And some of these M&Ms, like, they don't look that great from the very beginning. So I feel like, I mean, they do say that their expiration is like a year, but when it really comes down to it, it's a lot less than that. I try to keep them like coasted up in an upright position when I'm in my car, so they're not just rolling around crackling, to try to be, you know, try to preserve that life as much as possible. But anyways, yeah, super excited. I just came up a location, so losing that auto supply store, like I said, it's a great thing to lose it, right? Because sometimes, and the reason why I lost it was because they're actually going out of business. I asked the guy if it was because the auto's in the next door. He said no, they've been there for 25 years, right? He said it's hard to get people in this industry like kids that want to work at a place like this these days. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of an interesting aspect I really wasn't considering as an issue. But yeah, it sounds like he can't get cheap labor and the margins are probably thin. Anyways, my point is sometimes I don't have the urgency that I should on some of these locations that need to get cut off. I got a barber shop that I know. I keep the numbers so low. She asked me, we've talked about this, to put more candy in there. I'm thinking I can't put more candy in there. You're being super specific of what I can put in there. And then B, I'm hardly getting any sales. So for me, it's like, I don't even care if there's candy in there. I don't want it to go bad because I'm just losing money. There's a tire shop right there, huh? And if it gets down to that low of a point, it seemed like it did better before. But maybe the shop itself slowed down, and so there are less employees and maybe less traffic. I need people that are sitting there waiting, right? And if there's only one worker, one haircut at a time, and it's some sort of rotation, then they might not have people sitting there. I might not be making any money. But what I'm getting at is it needs to get cut off. The sales aren't there. It's costing me money. It's costing me time. It's not a good location. It's not going to turn into a better location. It's trickled down the decline. I try to justify that auto supply store, and I was like, the numbers aren't that, they're bad, they're not that good, but it's near my house, and it's an extra, it's a little bit of money, and the candy machine's doing better than it would if it was just sitting in front of my house. But at the end of the day, realistically, it's not cutting it. I can't have a machine that's making $5. You know what they liked? They liked those Starburst jelly beans. And see, I could have been making a ton of money by just selling Starburst jelly beans, and that's the power of certain candies, right? Maybe, if you put in certain candies that they're not into, they're not going to get sold. And then you put in something that they like, and maybe they sell like hotcakes. But I don't think the difference between the Starburst jelly beans and not at that location was really going to make enough of a difference, a definitive amount to decipher the difference between keeping it. In conclusion, yeah, hey, you did me a favor. You're going out of business. You need me to grab my candy machine. I grabbed it that same day because I didn't want to wait a week and forget about it. You know how fast time flies by, and then lose out on a candy machine like I have in the past. And if anything, these are the candy machines that I'm trying to get rid of anyway, so it's nice to have them kind of at my house. So if someone does want to buy it, I can say, hey, come get it right now. I got to get rid of it. I got to get this inventory out. And eventually you start cutting off your lower end locations, and eventually your lowest end location is actually going to be pretty good. Right? You're getting rid of the F's, you're getting rid of the D's, and then all of a sudden, maybe cuts slow down, and your bottom location is like a C- location that's still pulsating at maybe $15 a month, and that's your bottom, right? And so that's a nice thing. It's not about having 50 or 100 or 200 candy machines. It's about having that grade scale and having them all be above a certain threshold. And like I said, mine is roughly around 2 pulls a day. At 1 pull a day, you're still making $750 in sales in 10 days. 1 pull a day doesn't sound good. It sounds terrible. And it's still actually good. It's really not bad getting 1 pull a day. That's what's so great about this. You get 1 pull a day, 10 days, guess what? You just made 10 25-cent pieces. That's $250 times 30 days. That's 3 weeks. That's 4 weeks. Whatever. You're making $7.50. Now I'm saying that's not bad. It's still not enough to really stay on the team, and that's why I kept the minimum 2 pulls a day. 2 pulls a day gets you $750 times 2, $15 in sales. Now you're still given 20% to the house on most locations, 10% of 15, that's $3. You're out now at $12, right? It's still a low point. It's not that great, but it's good enough to say, hey, because at 0 to 5, it's an F location in sales. 5 to 10 is a D, and 10 to 15 is a C. So we're saying it's barely passing. It's good enough to stay on the team at 2 polls a day. For now, right? Obviously, I would like the numbers to be more like that after the 20%, after the price of the candy, right? So what would that number be? Would more look like? Well, it's now we're talking about $20. You got to figure close to about half is going to the candy plus the VIG, right? You can consider the VIG plus the half going to the candy and the VIG, half total. So if I want to be at $15 profit, it needs to be making $25 in sales a month. What does that boil down to, right? Well, if we know 1 poll a day is $750, 2 polls is $15, 3 polls is $22.50, and then 4 polls is $30. So it's averaging 3.5 polls a day. A place that's open 10 hours should be able to make, you would like to think, 3 to 4 polls a day, right? In 10 hours, that's 1 poll every 2.5 hours. Seems reasonable, right? Can I get a poll every 2.5 hours from either a customer or an employee? I like to think so. As much as I would like to go to the beach, and I'm still gonna try to do it, even though, because we are at the end of August and it's 5 o'clock, I have more important priorities, and my goal today is to try to hit them, which I get to do if I go set up a sticker machine at one of my new pizza parlors, and then if I can, oh man, it is and then if I could get to a tire shop and upgrade that location, but they close at 7. I got 2 hours, and they're kind of on opposite sides of the world. Hey man, I'm gonna try for it. If it doesn't happen, I got tomorrow, right? So anyways, super excited that I picked up a location. I'll be even more enthusiastic. Look, someone's selling lemonade for $1. You know, good for them. I don't think they're gonna make much money. But you know, you gotta start somewhere. I know I did. I was more creative than lemonade. But yeah, you know, 2 hours. Yeah.